Hello everybody again, and welcome back to another breakdown. We're going to be breaking down Kotoshoho's Jun-Yusho as well, and his is coming from the bottom of the Banzuke, where he fought a lot of low-ranking men, and in the ultimate moment on day 15 for the title, he didn't stand a chance. He completely fell short. But it's the journey that matters, and his 11-4 Jun-Yusho fighting spirit, I think, is the Kanto show. Really made a fantastic effort for him, and he's someone who I reference a lot because it was not too long ago that he was languishing in judo. He started sumo in 2017. Actually, let me just pull up his stat sheet over here. Started in 2017, immediately, 2 years between debut to judo promotion. And then from there, he gets to the top division off of the back of a judo yusho. His first of two that he would get later in his career. But this first one led to really good records. His first double-digit win record came from roughly the same rank, Maegashira 12, 10-5. But after that, he went 2-13 from Maegashira 3, bowing out of the tournament for injury, only to come back and get only one win to maybe try to save himself from falling to judo. And even after that, he languished in judo for almost a year until he got his second yusho. And now he seems like a lower top division mainstay, which, that's a lot of development in just 2 years. That's a lot of story right there. His sumo spirit was broken in January of 2021 by the very top division being there for the first time. And then after that, he comes back 2 years later, Jun-Yusho, and let's hope that his sumo spirit does not get broken again. He is one of these young guys that you should probably be looking out for. 23 years old, famously also has a brother named Koto Tebakari in the third division right now, who is tearing it up as well in his own right and should be making it to judo at some point soon. And I can't take you for a walk right now, Bear. Why didn't you start bothering me before I started the video? And, during the previous breakdown as well for Kiribayama, I thought I was so super clever for, making these all 15 days videos. And I realized I didn't make one for Kotoshoho. And I kind of left him off deliberately because, I told myself, okay, if he wins the Yusho, I have to make one for him. But if he doesn't, then, this is an impressive record for sure. But I feel like it might just be a flash in the pan. Might want to leave it off and, free myself from a little bit of extra work. But, foresight is just as bad as my regular eyesight, apparently, because I knew for a while that I wanted to do a breakdown for him and never thought to actually make the 15 days video. So we have to do what we used to. There's going to be no frame by frame. There's going to be no ability to slow things down. We just have to suffer with me playing through the VLC media player and having to actually scrub through until we find his matches as well on the day-to-day basis, which does take up a little bit of time. But, if we can fill the air a little bit, then it shouldn't be too much of a problem. And, I have his schedule on the side as well for I'm not trying to make ease of access in order to pull up. His first match of the tournament, Kotoshoho, which, okay, they started immediately, didn't even give me a second. I wanted to mention, too, that in the romanization of Japanese characters, I really like sometimes that they use the Y, because it's Kotoshoho. But Kotoshoho kind of adds a little bit of a, because it is a yo, technically, shio, but, a lot of people don't like that and just do Kotoshoho, which also isn't incorrect. I just think that's a cool little quirk of trying to translate Japanese to English, because there's another character, if you know the Monogatari series, Senjo Gahara. And in the light novel, it's spelled J-Y-O, Senjogahara, because it's technically Y-O. It's Shi-yo, Shio, Kotoshoho, which, I mean, come on, I don't think anyone actually pronounces it with the Y, but it's a funny little thing. All right, enough about the name, enough about the actual Japanese culture. Let's start talking about Kotoshoho's match against Ichi Yamamoto, which it's going to start right away. We don't have any time to prep for it. It's Kotoshoho does have a good Oshizumo style, but again, he's young, he's raw, he doesn't really have a set, amazing style to look forward to. Whereas Ichi Yamamoto, he's more of a known factor. He does have that, Oshizumo. He's Abi at home. He's, McDonald's, Walmart version of Abi, whatever you want to call him. But for large in part, that is what people refer to him as because, his style just is that similar. Bear, can you leave me alone? I'm trying to make a video. All right, in a little bit, Bubba. Give me like an hour. So anyway, this first match, Kotoshoho, Ichi Yamamoto. We're going to have Kotoshoho in blue and all of his enemies in the pink, as we usually try to do it. So this first match starts off right off the Tachi-ai. Well, we're going to go full speed first. Right off the Tachi-ai, Kotoshoho scoops upwards, gets a good slap to the face, tries to go low for a charge, and Ichi Yamamoto kept on trying to slap him down and away over and over again, but just couldn't get him away. And it's Kotoshoho having a good solid base underneath him to be able to push forward like that, as we'll see right off the Tachi-ai, scooping the arms upward, and then throughout the rest of the match, he makes sure to keep his feet underneath his hips almost at all times, so he can keep shuffling these feet forward and following up with good tsupari up high, shuffle, shuffle, thrust, thrust, and that's going to be the main gist of this first match. He's getting that slap to the face, he's using this right hand to counter Ichi Yamamoto as well, and even when Ichi Yamamoto tries to, slap him down like a lot of these Oshizumo wrestlers usually would, slap at the hands to send your opponent off balance, we can see Kotoshoho, solid footing. He's going to take a bigger step here, but he's going to be able to follow up by planting, turning, pointing that foot towards his opponent, and just staying on the pursuit. And Ichi Yamamoto's efforts to slap him down simply don't work because, again, Kotoshoho, keep watching his feet. He's going to keep his feet underneath him. His feet are not leaving the ground for too long. Like when he's taking a step, it's a quick low step, whereas sometimes you see, sumo wrestlers take these big arches to take these big steps, or even in a more improved level, you'll see them shuffle their feet forward. But these low steps ensure that your feet are not off the ground for too long. They ensure that you keep your stability, keep your base, and that's mainly where a lot of Kotoshoho's efforts to win this match come from. He lands every shot as he follows up, and from there it's a pretty simple victory because Ichi Yamamoto was on the retreat for almost the entire match, whereas whereas Kotoshoho, was forced to pursue him. You can be huffy all you want, Bear. I told you. I need to work on this video before I take you for a walk. Next match is going to be coming up against Maegashira 12 Kagayaki, which I need to scrub for just a little bit. Probably before this one. There we go. Kagayaki, Kotoshoho. Both of these men, Oshizumo wrestlers. Kagayaki, a different breed from Ichi Yamamoto and from Abi, from Daieisho, where he does indeed use those long arms, but instead of really arching forward, like this and then using his arms as, a way to keep himself afloat, Kagayaki keeps his center balanced and just uses the arms to attack. Because sometimes he likes to grab the belt too. He does a little bit of both, but he prefers the Oshizumo. But he mostly keeps his feet underneath him. Here, Kotoshoho did the same in the previous match. Let's see what he does here. Kotoshoho gets the better push, has better hands up high, and is deflecting a lot of these attacks from Kagayaki, which allows him to get more blows on the inside before he reaches down for the belt to get the push out. And he even had, I think, a fat lip or a bloody nose for his troubles in this match as well. But it's like I said, Kagayaki's style lends him to kind of stand up with a small arch towards his opponent. The Tachi-ai, though, pretty good for both men. As you can see, Kotoshoho, this hand on the side of Kagayaki, not really doing anything, but you know he wants to use the arms to scoop up, try to deflect these attacks. And that's kind of what he does, because on his own, Kagayaki takes a step back, and now he wants to use these hands aggressively, like I said, keeping his hips and his feet more in line with each other than you would see someone like Abi, who'd be way bent forward and trying to attack forward like that. So that's kind of what allows Kotoshoho to survive the initial assault, because Kagayaki, nice hand to the face right there, follows it up with another slap, and Kotoshoho counters this by trying to get low and inside. You can see him trying to throw these forearms down because he reaches for the belt later in the match. That's going to be the way to win against an Oshizumo wrestler. Right there, though, he gets stopped up, and now he does have the right hand inside, pushing up against the left of Kagayaki. But it's not making too much progress here, as Kagayaki also continues to fight high. Continues, like, that's the third slap to the face. But Kotoshoho deflecting the attack here, trying to, stop the assault from happening, as they just keep exchanging blows. They're going to keep exchanging blows. We don't really need to state which ones over and over again are landing, because, they're all making hits. I'll let you know when I see one miss, but it's the fact that they're going toe-to-toe, and it's so evenly matched that it's going to come down to one mistake. One mistake is going to allow your opponent to get the victory here. And that mistake is going to come from Kagayaki overcommitting to an attack. He walked forward here, and you could see one hand flying all the way up here. And, this one hand from Kotoshoho is ready to try to grab it. And that means Kagayaki needs to go on the retreat here. That allows Kotoshoho to keep pushing forward. As you can see, Kotoshoho is now leaning forward into Kagayaki. The head is looking down, getting low. The knees are getting bent. He's pushing forward. And again, because Kagayaki had to go on the retreat, Kotoshoho is now allowed to go on the offense. Kagayaki has a good defense, and now they're back to 50-50 here, which, again, it's going to be that one mistake coming. What's that mistake going to be? Who's going to make the mistake? These guys are really evenly matched here, which is a pretty good Yu-Gi-Oh card, so I've been told. But I don't play Yu-Gi-Oh, so I don't know why I brought it up. And it's going to be right here. Kotoshoho dives in for the belt again, and this time Kagayaki can't prevent him from getting away. That big right hand comes inside, hits the belt, and Kagayaki, as a response, not sure if it's instinctive or not, but he starts stepping back, retreating, trying for the slap down, and it's not going to work because, again, watch Kotoshoho's feet. He's going to keep those feet underneath him, take those small steps forward, and even if Kagayaki were to survive here and maybe hop to the side, Kotoshoho has very solid stance. These hips, these feet, these bent legs, there's no way he's going to fall forward. There's no way he's going to fall backwards. This is incredibly solid stance from Kotoshoho here as he earns his second victory of the tournament. Kagayaki would later finish 7-8. And like I said, got a fat lip there because, he got hit in the face like 3-4 times. I actually think it is that bloody nose. It could be both. Has a fat lip and a bloody nose. We saw a lot of blood on the dohyo this past tournament. Let's see. Next up, that was a little too far forward. Next match we are gonna see is, let's see. Oh, that's a little too low. Is gonna be against Tsurugisho, Maegashira 15. Now, Tsurugisho is a big man in his own right. He has been a little bit higher on the Banzuke before. And he has I don't know if he's still struggling with it, but one of the main things I remember about Tsurugisho is him having an elbow injury that has kind of plagued him in, I think it was late 2020, early 2021. And, something like that never truly goes away. But Tsurugisho, he's big, he's round, he's strong, and he's got some strong Yotsuzumo here. Kotoshoho going up against the 2-0 Tsurugisho. How is he going to fare? Note also that they were 1-1 at this time of meeting in head-to-head matchups, so not too much history between them. Tsurugisho attempts a slap to the face, but Kotoshoho takes the step back in an effort to get the armbar throw and awkwardly does get the throw at the edge. Now, coming off of the back of the Kiribayama video that I just filmed like 2 hours ago, but wasn't posted until, a week ago, one of the big things we mentioned was the foot coming to the outside, and that was something Kiribayama did a lot. He took this left foot, went to the outside, and then would try to attack from the side, which that's generally something you want to do against a much bigger opponent, and that's pretty much exactly what Kotoshoho does here. He's going to take a step to this right side so he doesn't take the full-on charge from Tsurugisho. You can see it right there. Even though it wasn't the first step, the second step came swinging out this way. Not sure if it's because he got blasted off the Tachi or if that was the game plan to begin with, but this big first left foot went forward. The second one swung around to the side, and it looks like from this position, he's going for this armbar throw, which he does attempt. But Tsurugisho, because that first step wasn't the outside step, Tsurugisho does have the time to be able to match and square up again. So from here, now it's kind of just a struggle for Kotoshoho to try to get this throw down any way he can, and it's not like he's in a bad position for it until he loses the grip on the arm there. You can see it's up way too high, and Tsurugisho very smartly rose this arm up to make that grip get broken. But at the very edge here, you're going to see the shifting of the momentum. Kotoshoho, instead of opting for the armbar throw to try to go around that way, he actually pulls back and goes for a slap down the other way. And that's something, again, that we've talked about a lot in these breakdown videos. When you're being rocked one way, they're going to try to correct themselves by forcing back to the middle. So you want to assist that and keep throwing them that way. And that's kind of what happened here. Very quickly and very hard to see, but that's what happened here in this match. Kotoshoho tried to throw to the right, Tsurugisho blocked it, so he throws to the left. That's going to get him a lot of an advantage there, but Kotoshoho got the slap down at the edge. Did those heels touch outside first? And the heels did not touch outside, or rather maybe they did, because there's a mono-e here. He did kick up a lot of sand, but it's called in favor of Kotoshoho. Falling flat on his belly is Tsurugisho, as you can see in this replay. And that's one thing to note too. Whether that's a little bit of luck or just really fantastic balance and ring awareness, Kotoshoho really coming away with that win there. And in an otherwise not very notable match, he's showing you that he does know how to throw around his opponent's weight. Tsurugisho is not a small man. Next up, we're going to have him go up against Tochinoshin. Where? No, I told you later. you all are going to think I'm abusing my animal, aren't you? But he gets so spoiled. Yes, you do. You get so spoiled. Give me an hour, Bear, please. So the next match is going to be Kotoshoho going up against Tochinoshin, Maegashira 11, so we have to scrub a little bit just to get there. Ichi Yamamoto versus Okino Umi, one of Okino Umi's final matches, by the way. But at this point, Tochinoshin was 5-0 against Kotoshoho. So Kotoshoho is coming up against an opponent that he had never beaten until today. And spoiler alert, he wins via Yorikiri. No. Stop it. No. Oh, so how does this once uber powerful Tochinoshin fall so simply to Kotoshoho? Big blast for Tochinoshin, and when he tries to get the grip around the back of the head, that seems to be the poor decision he makes, as he also holds his shoulder during that match. This is actually also Tochinoshin's final match of the tournament, because after this, he would go Fusensho for a dislocated shoulder. And part of this video is going to be kind of finding out where he dislocates it or how he dislocates it, because to be injured in the middle of a match, you're giving up 90% of your power. And if you're not at 100%, you have very little chance of winning. So Tochinoshin comes out with a very powerful charge here. And you could see he's got both of these hands inside, looking to scoop up like he usually does in these situations. Kotoshoho is actually able to take it in stride because he's attacking the outside of the arm as well, deflecting Tochinoshin's counterattack. After he does this, Tochinoshin leaps forward and, well, now they're face to face, nearly kissing each other. But Tochinoshin, it could be at this moment that he dislocates his shoulder, but he gets the wraparound around the back of the head because it seems like he stumbles forward. These big, clumsy steps forward makes him fall into the arms of Kotoshoho. And we've seen it before where Tochinoshin will go for this around the back of the head grip as a last-ditch effort to try to throw when he's, being yorikiri'd at the Tawara, but he's never really gone for it right off the tachi-ai from my memory. And it could be right here as well that the shoulder gets dislocated, which, or if it was just dislocated, that would only exacerbate it further. But Kotoshoho's counterattack to this attempted grab is not incorrect. He steps back away, hits the arm down and away, and he's going to pull his head back up so he can square back up and meet chest to chest. It doesn't exactly work because, Tochinoshin still has that grip, but it does allow Kotoshoho to swing his legs back around, bring those hips a little bit lower so he can drive up into the chest of Tochinoshin, who Tochinoshin, like I said, this grip is usually a last-ditch effort to try to, throw off to the side, which never usually works for him. So after this, they square up chest to chest, and Tochinoshin, that right or that left arm of his isn't really doing anything, even though he has the inside right. And it's from here a simple yorikiri victory. And again, we don't really know at what point Tochinoshin dislocated that shoulder. It could have been right off the tachi-ai. It could have been when Kotoshoho attacked that upper arm, but what we do know is that the end result is Tochinoshin would lose this match. It is Kotoshoho's first win against Tochinoshin, and as unfortunate as it is, the injured Tochinoshin falls to Judio after this. You are too active, Bear. You are so stubborn. I'm talking to my husky. And if you are a husky owner or any adjacent kind of dog like, I don't know, Shiba or Malamute, then you would know that they are quite the dramatic and annoying breed. But I love him so. Alrighty, go away, please. Next up, his match is against Mitoryu, who at this point, they were 2-2 in the head-to-head. Now they go at it. Full speed, good tachi-ai from Kotoshoho, gets the inside right, wrapped around the back, leaves Mitoryu's left arm dangling, while Mitoryu tries to get that right arm, or that left arm around the back. He does, but he loses his footing. Kotoshoho keeps his footing, and it ends in Yori Taoshi, frontal crush down. Now, Kotoshoho does a lot right here. He takes the charge head on, he gets low, he gets these hands inside, and he's going to use this hand inside to get a deep grip around the back. After that, he's going to use that shoulder to get up into the armpit. We can't really see what's going on the far side, but usually you exchange inside right, outside lefts, unless he was lucky enough to get a double inside. From here though, after creating separation, we see Mitoryu dive this right shoulder inside so he can reach down for that right inside. And from here, that's where Kotoshoho is going to opt to take this Yotsu battle, tries to reach his own right arm inside so they can exchange these grips. Kotoshoho on this left side is actually using that left arm to wrap around the right forearm and is pulling it up into the armpit of Kotoshoho, which if you've ever seen Yotsu versus Yotsu, you know that this is a good tactic to keep your opponent away from your belt. And after he locks this in, he tries to drive this right shoulder up into the armpit. So now that leaves Mitoryu's left arm dangling and unable to do anything. But Mitoryu will eventually extend his body enough that he can make this reach. Unfortunately, I think that's his undoing. Because when he finally gets the grip on that belt, you can see how far his body is stretched. He has the grip, but he doesn't really have any momentum with it or leverage with it, because Kotoshoho, he's the one reaching around the back inside right. He's the one also twisting his body. You can see the way the hips and shoulders are twisting here. He's twisting his body so that this inside right is not doing anything from Mitoryu. And because Mitoryu opted for the outside left grip, he can't keep both of these grips because his arms simply aren't long enough. And as a result, he's going to get thrown off balance here. Oh, I should probably erase those lines. But when Mitoryu goes for a pull here, and I do think that this is Mitoryu pulling because he's the one to stand himself up and pull Kotoshoho in closer, that's only going to let Kotoshoho push in, and you could see this leg nearly wrap around the back, which is going to throw Mitoryu off balance. And getting a leg wrap like that, a leg trip, is a kind of a risky move because, you know, if you lose balance yourself while trying a leg trip, then, you know, you've only just undone yourself. But that is going to force Kotoshoho all of that momentum to push forward. Mitoryu falls backwards, stumbling, losing his footing, and Kotoshoho starts off 5-0. The next match is going to be up against Takarafuji, who, you know, I believe he doesn't belong this far down the Banzuke, but, you know, the record kind of reflected it. The previous Basho, he only got an 8-7 at this one as well. We're going to have to skip through Azumaru, Tsurugisho, Kotoshoho, Takarafuji. Kotoshoho 5-0 going up against a 4-1 Takarafuji, who also is undefeated against Kotoshoho. But we saw Kotoshoho, he defeated Tochinoshin, who he was undefeated against. Is it going to be the same story here? Takarafuji steps back for a slapdown. Not a bad match for Takarafuji. Sloppy from Kotoshoho though, but I don't think you can really blame him here because Takarafuji is a well-known Yotsuzumo specialist, likes to slow down the match, likes to go for the belt grip game, but you know, that hasn't really been working out for him because, you know, everyone else is just faster. They get the belt faster, or the Oshizumo is too fast for him to be able to put up a defense. His opponents are usually outspeeding him. But Kotoshoho, he's content to go at the slow pace. And that's going to be his undoing, because he probably thinks he's going to get into a long drawn-out Yotsuzumo match with Takarafuji, but instead Takarafuji opts to meet him at the Tachi-ai, solid both ways. Kotoshoho gets the big left step forward that we like to talk about with people like Wakataka Kage, gets the big left step forward, gonna try to drive forward, inside arms down so he can push back up and then form another assault from there. But Takarafuji, he's gonna take the step back, and from here, this is what usually happens to, you know, those Oshizumo guys that I talked about earlier. He's going to slap down at these hands that are, you know, in a solid position. Kotoshoho has a good, solid push forward, but he's going to slap at that left outside hand. He's going to leap backwards for the slap down to the back of the head. And because it's probably just straight up, Kotoshoho did not expect this move from Takarafuji, which, wily veteran, they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but he's probably had this trick up his sleeve for years and years. He leaps backwards, he slaps down at the arm, down at the head, and now Kotoshoho, having lost all of that pressure up to the chest because it was deflected downwards, is just going to tumble on out of the ring in what is a very not dramatic first loss for Kotoshoho. Not surprising for him to lose in such a fashion, but I did expect a little bit better. He probably expected a completely different match because, like I said, Takarafuji is not really one to pull out a trick like that, but Mans was 5-1 at this point in the tournament now. He needs to keep that momentum up, especially if he wants to stay out of Judio. He would go on to finish 8-7, however. Next match is going to be up against Maegashira 9 Endo. And this is kind of where, we're getting into... Oh, that was a little early. We're getting into, the times where we're a week into the tournament. Stronger opponents are going to be, facing stronger opponents and so on. Kotoshoho and Endo here goes to another mono-e. And, it kind of reflects in the record. Before the tournament starts, and when I choose my Kachi Clash, I take a look at the Banzuke, and usually, in the same logic that the Yokozuna has to only fight down, the same thing happens to the Maegashira 16s that only fight up, which is why Maegashira's, 1, 2, 3, and 4 are usually very difficult, because those guys can only fight down, which means that they are going to be fighting the guys above them, which is why that's such a difficult position. In the same vein, Maegashira 13, 12, and 11 can fight down for most of their matches because those guys can only fight up. A Maegashira 16 West, sure, he could fight a Judio 1 or a Judio 2 here or there, but they're not going to pair him up with a Judio every single match if there is an injury. And that only is if there is an odd number of sumo wrestlers. So that means they're only going to be fighting up. That's why you can argue Kotoshoho's tournament, especially in the first week and a half-ish, where he's fighting, Maegashira 16 Chiomaru, Maegashira 16 Takarafuji, even though he loses that match, Maegashira 15 Mitoryu, he has an easy schedule. And that's because the people below him can only fight up, which means he's going to be taking on a lot of these fights. Now, the logic does start to lean out the window when you have a 5-1 record, you have to fight some stronger opponents. That way you can kind of see where your skill record really is, and it can be, measured out more appropriately. This first match is going to be against Endo, Maegashira 9, 4-2. Another strong veteran of the ring. Is Kotoshoho going to get tricked again, or is he going to go for a good, solid, straight-up battle? Endo gets a strong left outside to start the match, tries to switch it to inside, but Kotoshoho uses that to try to throw Endo. Endo still trying to retreat, turn around, attempting to throw at the edge, and it is called in favor of Kotoshoho. So a lot happens in a short time in this match, and most of the big beats are what Endo does to switch the grips, and what Kotoshoho does to respond to that. So, Kotoshoho here, he's going to have a good start, but Endo arguably has a better start. Immediately off the Tachi-ai, we see Kotoshoho throws up the elbows as he usually does to try to get the push off, but Endo locking in the left outside immediately on the belt. Kotoshoho is going to try to fight this off by getting a good grip around the outside left and pull that arm up into the armpit to make it useless like we usually see. Kotoshoho with that inside right as well, loses the grip on the outside left. Endo now has a really good grip here. I don't really see why Endo would opt to switch the grip when this is already so powerful, but Endo loses that inside right grip. Or rather, actually, he still has it back there. I thought he switched the grips because he lost it, but he still has the grip back there. And I guess he got greedy here, wanted to get the double inside, to which Kotoshoho, now he has to respond defensively, which he does by, like I said in the Kiribayama video, he bends that elbow in and locks that forearm in such a way that Endo can't actually use the inside hand. The inside hand is on the belt, but it's not gripping the belt. And so that makes it really awkward for Endo. He loses a lot of pressure on that left side that allows Kotoshoho to push forward. Because of that, Endo swings his hips back, tries to reset. Kotoshoho obliges, swings his hips back. He does not want to give up that inside grip to the hand, but he does maintain the outside right. That's soon going to change though, because Endo dives back in, just barreling through Kotoshoho's chest as we see the left arm gets locked around the back, and 90% of the momentum is going to be in that charge, but Kotoshoho deflects it by trying to throw Endo off to the side, and that works because now they're stopped again in the middle of the ring. Endo tries to lift up with this right outside. Inside left, you can kind of see the fingers still not on the belt, so he's not getting any leverage on the push-up, whereas Kotoshoho, we can't tell what's going on with that right hand, but this left arm, big left arm, lifting Endo up to try to stand him up, so he loses all the leverage in his legs as well. Kotoshoho getting pushed back. They do slow it down for just a moment, but Kotoshoho, you can see this odd grip here, is to try to pull this arm up off the belt, as he's doing on the other side as well. Because Endo, being a little bit shorter, does have the advantage in terms of getting leverage, and I'm not using the right color there for Endo, but you know what I'm trying to say. It's something that I've said for a lot of other sumo wrestlers. The lower you can get with your knees still bent, the more you can push up into the large chests of your opponent. Endo pushed up, now he's on the pullback, but he slides backwards. Kotoshoho is on him because he still has this grip around the arm, and even though Endo has it locked behind Kotoshoho, it's not really doing anything because he could try to go for a throw, but the way this arm is locked right here, he can't, because he would only he would only lose the grip on the belt, and the most he could do after that is slip away. He does attempt the throw though, but because of all that momentum, and you can actually see in this freeze frame right here, he steps backwards out and onto the sand. Kotoshoho is going to be the one to get the win. And it was that little kick up of the sand right there. Really good eye by the Gyoji too. That's not something we talk about a lot, but look at those eyes. Right at the feet. He knew it. He saw it. He saw that sand get kicked up and he's like, boom, Kotoshoho. And that was a real barn burner of a match. Less than 20 seconds, but way back and forth. And again, a lot of little things happening in such quick succession. The way they switch the grip, the way Kotoshoho uses that elbow to keep Endo contained. Endo trying to push and pull and push and pull, but it just works against him at the very end because Kotoshoho used the grip around the arm, kept his hips underneath his shoulders, and was able to push forward for the victory. Really good win for Kotoshoho here, as the next match is going to be up against arguably his easiest opponent of the tournament, Chiomaru here. On day 8. I just clicked day 7 again. My mistake. Arden will peek her microphone. On day 8, we're going to see Kotoshoho versus Chiomaru. A round happy boy that seems to be a fan favorite, but he just can't seem to string things together too much. Here we go. 6-1 versus 1-6. And, going back to what I said, Bear, give me a little bit, okay, Bubba? I'm working. It's not even your usual walking time. If you're this far into the video, say hi to Bear. leave a hi, Bear, in the comments down below. This is being so cute, but it is still an hour before your usual outing time, Bear, so I am not taking you out. You want to say hi to the chat? Oh, now you don't want to talk. Anyway, Kotoshoho versus Chiomaru. Again, going back to what I said the previous match, Chiomaru has to fight up. He can only really fight up. And as a result, Kotoshoho is one of those opponents. And even though Chiomaru is doing miserably bad, and Kotoshoho at this point was 2-0 in the head-to-head, this is just the opponent he is dealt. So, what does Kotoshoho do here? He actually completely missed at the Tachi-ai, but because of Chiyomaru's slow footwork, is able to get back into the match and get the frontal push out. So, watch this right here. Kotoshoho is going to go high and completely miss, which against any other sumo wrestler, you're dead. As quick as it can be, you are dead. Gets completely deflected. Big left hand at the start for Chiomaru. And now, like, if Chiomaru was a Yotsuzumo guy, he just gets the belt and wins. But because he's not, this allows Kotoshoho to step back and get back into the match. Because Chiomaru didn't grab the belt, Kotoshoho was allowed to swing those hips and feet back so he can get back into the match. And now he's squared up head-to-head against an older Oshizumo guy, to which he will put both hands on the middle of the chest. You can't really see it from this angle, but you can kind of see from the elbows how they're going. Chiomaru, he's got these hands in the air, not really doing much, getting pushed all the way back to the edge. He overcorrects, like I said, when you get to the Tawada, you want to lean forward so you can build up that momentum again. But Chiyomaru's going to overcorrect here, and Kotoshoho about to deliver a fantastic slapdown. Like, look at this wind up. All you got to do is smack that ass. But unfortunately, he does not finish off the match here. He's going to get the slap to the back of the head, but because Chiyomaru's got those big bullfrog legs, he's going to be able to recover. But already, eyes on the back here, going to be able to follow up very neatly on Chiyomaru. And even though Chiyomaru once again recovers, it's just an awful position to be in. You're at the edge. You have a man who's ready to charge at you. You're very clearly too slow to take advantage of the opportunities presented to you. So what does Chiyomaru do here? Well, he tries to take the charge of Kotoshoho, to which Kotoshoho simply goes Yorikiri, eases him out of the ring. And as dramatic as that match was, it wouldn't have happened that way against a better opponent. Right at this Tachi-ai, Kotoshoho, against anybody else, right here, he's dead. Right here, this is what happens. Misses that Tachi-ai, hand to the belt, grab, throw, or maybe grab, push out, chest to chest. Against anyone else, that's what should be happening at this moment. But because Chiyomaru couldn't get a grip on the belt, Kotoshoho easily fights his way back into the match and gets an easy Yorikiri.
I fully expected Chiomaru to take advantage of that, but
And even live, we were very confused at how Chiomaru didn't win that match, which is pretty funny. But that means we just need to go into the next match, day 9, where he will fight Hirato Umi. Hirato Umi is someone who, Maegashira 10, still within those lower ranks. Again, you could argue that this is someone Kotoshoho would be fighting normally anyway. Hirato Umi, very hyped up, and at the previous Basho, calling back to those all 15 days videos I make, and the one that I didn't make for Kotoshoho here, Hirato Umi was requested, and, because I have nothing better to do, I made one for him. And in hindsight, because I have nothing better to do, I should probably make that 15 days video for Kotoshoho as well. But I'm far too lazy and I have other things I need to work on. Hirato Umi, though, a good sumo wrestler in his own right. 5-3, going up against the 7-1 Kotoshoho. And at this point, they were 1-1 in the head-to-head. What happens here? Kotoshoho does not allow the outside left to get on the belt. Inside right locked in. Hirato Umi rocking Kotoshoho to the side. And that's going to be the throwdown. Using the leverage of being the smaller man, getting up underneath the armpit of Kotoshoho here. And even though Kotoshoho had a really good Tachi, he was just thrown off balance way too easy. You could see right off the Tachi, big charge forward, gets the big step, gets the inside right, but he's up too straight. His legs are far too straight. These hips need to be lower so he can be shoulder to shoulder and use these legs to push and pump himself forward. Because his hips are too high, that allows Hirato Umi to get a grip underneath this right armpit, and that's how he rocks Kotoshoho off balance. Because even though he doesn't have the grip on the outside left of the belt, he's going to keep Kotoshoho's inside right inside in that same way I've been explaining over and over again. He's going to push that elbow in, make it uncomfortable. And even though it is technically a better grip, you could see he's fighting this elbow. He's fighting that elbow to try to keep it bent in an awkward way. And Kotoshoho trying to counter this inside right under the armpit by trying to pull up on this arm just to get it out of the way. But that's actually going to work against him. Because he's pulling this arm up, he's actually allowing Hirato Umi to pull up and rock to the side. You can see the way he's dipping his shoulder already. He's going to continue to dip it, dip the hips, swing it away. And in just a moment, that's how he gets the win. Very off balance, though. That's the thing, too. Very risky throw here. Throws himself off balance. Pulls the hips away, so Kotoshoho actually starts to lose the grip back here and uses Kotoshoho's own momentum against him to get this throw down. And the fact that he got that second foot down means that Kotoshoho didn't have enough power high to just push him out of the ring right there. And this was expertly done by Hirato Umi. Kotoshoho, you can't really say he did anything too wrong there. And again, I'm going to say this because it's one of those things I have to say in every video just to pad out the time so I get more watch hours for when you watch this. There's winning and losing. The way you win a match is different from the way you lose a match. And that was a match where Kotoshoho did a lot right, but his opponent was just better than him today. His opponent got a grip that was more in line with his style, and as a result, he got thrown to the side. Now, you could argue, like I'm kind of saying, he didn't really make any mistakes from the Tachi, from his grip, but you could argue Kotoshoho should have tried to do something differently, could have positioned his hips or shoulders differently at some capacity, but I feel like this was Kotoshoho at a very high level, like 90-95%, and this was Hirato Umi at 110%. The smaller man did not really win at the Tachi, gave up the inside right to Kotoshoho very early on, but stood his ground and used that against Kotoshoho to get the win. To get 6-3 and eventually finish 8-7 on the tournament, which is a damn shame because he was very close or on a good run. Next match is going to be up against a fan favorite in Uda, the man in pink. Oh.
By like 2.
Let's see. It looks like this goes to Mono-e.
Retired a little while ago.
And I'm not sure if they have a Tochinoshin as well, so we might get some extra breakdowns. Kotoshoho versus Uda here. Uda starting off 6-3 as well, collapsed to a 7-8 record, which is a damn shame. But let's see what happens. Kotoshoho very slow at the Tachi, pushes forward and gets the Yori Taoshi there. But that's not the way it all ends. But first, we will break down this first match anyway. Uda, we know him, we love him, he's far back from the line, he's very tricky, he tries to do these weird things at the Tachi to get the advantage. His opponents sometimes outsmart him by doing this.
Takakeisho.
going very slow at the tachi and using his unusual tachi against him. Kotoshoho put up these arms in defense and just waited for Uda to attack. And Uda did indeed get the invite. He took the attack, and now the idea is to use that against him. Kotoshoho is going to lift him up with this inside right arm, outside left, pulling the arm up into the armpit to pull Uda up, straighten him out, and go for a Yorikiri victory. Uda also obliges by going on the retreat, attempting to throw at the edge, but and even though it is called in Kotoshoho's favor, it is called Torinaoshi for simultaneous touching outside of the ring, which, you know, that first match could go 50-50 either way, but that's the strategy that you're going to be using against Uda. Kotoshoho, smart to do it. Not a clean finish, however, and that's kind of what gets him at the end. Otherwise, that was as well executed as Kotoshoho could possibly do it, in my opinion. Which, that's one thing that does irk me, not just about myself, but when other people say it. When someone will like write in their article or on their own stream or on their own video, like, in my opinion. It's like, yes, we know it's your opinion. You're the one writing it. But I guess that is to also, you know, let people know that that's not the, like, it's not fact. It's just opinion. So, because there are some readers that would mix up fact for opinion based on the tone of an article or the way someone says something. But that's just one of my little pet peeves about the English language. Oh, my dog sees the cats outside. He wants to go out. Kotoshoho versus Uda, round 2. False start from Kotoshoho. Into another slow tachi, exactly the same thing happens, except Kotoshoho now opts to go hands up high, slapping the crap out of Uda, and Uda, reeling, attempts to grab the hand for a pull, attempts the leg pick here, but Kotoshoho counters everything perfectly and wins the match from there. Now, at the very start, you might have imagined that this fight would go the same way as the first one. Kotoshoho with a slow tachi into grabbing Uda with the inside right. But this time he doesn't get the grip on the belt. And because he doesn't get the grip on the belt, that's where he's going to start going for thrusts to the head. And like I say live, and if you've watched my top 10 video, you'll know, Uda puts up no defense. He just does not defend against any of this. Watch. Just Kotoshoho slapping the crap out of his face for a good 5 seconds straight. And it's only after those 5 seconds, Uda takes a few steps back, and now he's trying to deflect the attack. He shuffles over to the side, tries to deflect the attack with these hands, but those 5 seconds of punishment where Kotoshoho was just free firing, like that's a lot of pressure just being given up by Uda. Like, he was, I don't know if he was stunned or if he just didn't straight up know what to do in that situation, but Kotoshoho in full control at this point in the match. Kotoshoho, though, a little reckless in his follow-up, though. You know, I prefer to see a sumo wrestler take it slow in the ring, keep those feet and hips underneath him so he doesn't fall victim to like a last-second pull attempt. But he has Uda reeling here, and although it is a sloppy follow-up, it's kind of what's needed to just stay on Uda's heels. Uda, though, uses that to his advantage, grabs the hand, pulls Kotoshoho in, and now Uda is able to, you know, kiss that armpit a little bit, because that's looks like exactly what he's doing, kissing the bicep there. We could even see this arm thrown up by Kotoshoho to block the attack, because now he's going to push up and away at the face of Uda after being pulled in and get another good thrust to the head. Follow up by trying to go high again, but that's exactly what Uda wanted. Uda, after having Kotoshoho go high, dives down for the leg, and this is deadly. Uda gets a grip around the leg, attempts the leg pick, but watch what Kotoshoho does here with his hips. He keeps the hips as low as possible. He keeps the hips low. His feet are way out. His knee is caught, but he's keeping himself in a way that means that even though Ura caught him, he's actually using Ura to support his own body weight. And he's keeping the balance by keeping his hips as low as possible so Ura can't lift him up as easily. Because now at this point, Ura's hips are higher than Kotoshoho's, and Ura has a grip around the leg. So how is Ura supposed to lift up here? Well, now he has to use his back to lift up these legs or drop the hips so he could try to lift with his legs, which if anyone has ever lifted anything in their lives, you never want to lift with your back. You want to lift with your legs. So Ura has to dip these hips if he wants to try to win with his leg pick. And when he does dip those hips, that's when Kotoshoho, still having the solid base underneath him, is able to lean over on Ura and just completely crush him down.
Lifting up and tossed down. Kotoshoho.
Kotoshoho, like, I don't know how you teach yourself to counter a leg pick so amazingly, but this was, for a reason, in the top 10 videos. I think it was like number 2 or number 1, but what a fantastic way to counter the leg pick. Like, insane. Drops the hips, leans over, and uses Ura's own momentum and power against him. Like, this is Kotoshoho's best match of the tournament by far. This is where he looked the best, and this is the Kotoshoho that I want to see going into the future, because holy crap, that was amazing. Like, I'm gushing right now because of how cool that finish was. Like, I can't get enough of it.
Pushing forward, but now Ura gets a grab on the arm, loses it, gets low, leg pick, lifting up and tossed down.
Like, what a finish, dude. God, that's why I love sumo right there. After defeating Ura for his Kachikoshi, his next match is going to be up against a man who was in the Yusho race in Onosho, which is kind of funny because, you know, Kotoshoho was also in that Yusho race, and it looks like it comes before the Ura match because Onosho is a Maegashira 8. Here we go. So Onosho, we know his style. He likes to come out like a cannonball and just completely overwhelm the opponent in a full-body charge. 8-2 at this point as well. Kotoshoho also 8-2. And, you know, within 5 ranks of each other, so you could still say that Kotoshoho is fighting within his class here. Onosho fighting a bit down, and again, this is something that I've said many, many, many times about the likes of Onosho and Hokuto Fuji. I feel like they belong in the Makuuchi Joy, but they just don't have anywhere near the consistency they need. Like, they are more powerful than Maegashira 8, but Onosho just can't stay up there, you know? So I would argue Onosho is fighting down here and has the easier match, and Kotoshoho obviously has a mountain to climb ahead of him in this particular match as well. Kotoshoho takes the charge, gets a really good grab, but it's the same story as with Hirato Umi. The right hand up in his left armpit throws him off balance, and he gets thrown to the ground as a result. So off this Tachi-ai, this is a good Tachi-ai. Again, it's a good Tachi-ai. Great lockdown on this right arm, gets the right hand inside, the forearm to the chest, and he's completely nullified the charge from Onosho, which is the scariest thing about Onosho. So from here, you would reason that this could be a very easy victory, but it's not, because Kotoshoho allows Onosho to dig this right arm up inside, and now Onosho is the one in control of this half of Kotoshoho. Onosho is going to step back, use the momentum to throw, and it's pretty much just over from there.
Taking the charge, stop.
Kotoshoho was the one walking forward on the attack as well. Kotoshoho was the one attacking here, but bad base. This left foot is either not out wide enough or it's not forward enough to prevent this throw from happening, but Onosho senses the timing, goes for the throw, and Kotoshoho, that right foot, collapses on him, so he simply gets thrown to the ground. And that is one of the sins of Kotoshoho here, is that, you know, he needs to work on his footwork, obviously. If he has good footwork there, then he just pushes forward for an easy yorikiri, but because that right foot gets caught up on itself, caught up in the clay, just try to watch his right foot the entire way through this match. He's going to stumble somewhere in the middle, and then that's kind of what starts his tumble as he gets thrown. That right foot just didn't get all the way where it needed to be. He didn't keep the feet underneath him well enough, and when you don't have that solid base, you can't succeed. And right there, that should have been an easy yorikiri for Kotoshoho. Easy, like the easiest of his life. But he didn't have that solid base. Could probably say he got a little too ahead of himself in trying to go on the attack as well. And as a result, that's why he, you know, messed up his attack. So that would be the last loss for him before day 15 as we go into the next match, which is going to be up against Nishikigi. Nishikigi, Maegashira 5, 7-5 at this point. And we almost skipped right to it. My timing is pretty decent. Kotoshoho versus Nishikigi. Kotoshoho looking to stay in that Yusho race at this point, because this is also when Takakeisho had fallen to those 3 losses. Onosho is the leader in his own right here. But again, Kotoshoho could have had that win. Nishikigi, his next opponent here, and how does he do it? Nishikigi, it's kind of the same story for Kotoshoho, except he's the one turning the tables on his opponent. And in the same way he lost yesterday, he is the one to get the win today. Give me like 15 more minutes, Bear, okay? Okay, Bubba? 15 more minutes, Bubba. He just wants attention. You know huskies, they're attention whores. You're a whore bear. Yeah. Kotoshoho here doesn't have a bad tachi eye. The hands get into a good position, but Nishikigi... What? You got some eye gunkies, dude. Nishikigi gets this left hand inside, Kotoshoho the right hand inside, and that's not a bad spot for your right hand to be. But he's going to bring it up into the armpit, and Nishikigi actually has the more solid initial push here. So that's what's going to get Nishikigi the advantage as he tries to shift those shoulders down as well. He shifts those shoulders down to get the right hand inside, but Kotoshoho wiggles these hips back and away, so now the arms can't reach the belt in any capacity. Wiggling those hips far and away, though, does lend itself to some problems, but because Nishikigi is also leaning up against Kotoshoho, and Kotoshoho does have that grip around the back, it's not a very, very poor position. It's not the best, definitely not where I would want to be. But Kotoshoho uses this as he's getting pushed back. He's going to do exactly what was done to him. He's going to rock his opponent to the right using this right arm underneath the armpit and go for the throw at the edge. And it really is as simple as that, as this time around, he has some really good footing, really good feet around the edge of the ring, able to keep his own balance, and gets a really quick and simple win. Nishikigi a little upset with himself at that one, but really nobody to blame but himself. And that's kind of the thing. You want to end your match quickly, but you have to be smart about it. In Kotoshoho's last match, he was the one pushing forward and got thrown. Nishikigi, he did the same exact thing. He was the one pushing forward and got thrown, and it was because his push forward was a little too reckless that he was able to be taken advantage of. This next match is going to be versus Abi. Kotoshoho versus Abi, who he already beat Ichi Yamamoto on day 1. So, you know, after fighting against budget Abi, what can the real deal do? to Kotoshoho as we have Kotoshogiku on the bench. Let's see. Maegashira 1, Maegashira 1. Alright, I'm going to have to back up a bit because Abi is only Maegashira 3. There it is. Yeah. Kotoshoho had already beaten Budget Abi. Now he has to fight real Abi. How is that going to go for him in this tournament?
It's like it's getting worse because I'm talking a lot more now.
Kotoshoho going high to match Abi, sidesteps Abi. Now he's the one on the push forward. Abi's still trying to recklessly flail forward, but Kotoshoho deflects him to the side and allows Abi to stumble forward out of the ring. And we're not going to dwell too much on it because, again, this is another match where a lot happens in very little time.
You could just hang it off your lip.
Alright, I gotta wait for it.
Excuse me. My cough feels like it's getting.
So what happens in this match is, like I said, Kotoshoho, he does a little of both, and in this Tachi-ai, he blocks really well. Big left arm up high to try to deflect Abi, who is kind of doing the same thing with this right arm, but they're basically just throwing these forearms at each other to see how they can follow up with some more thrusts. Abi has the big left hand to the face, and this is what he likes to do. He gets up on these tippy toes and applies as much pressure as possible, but it's not in the way that he usually wants to. He wants to lean a little bit more forward so he can drive up and through. So this position right here is not perfect for Abi, whereas Kotoshoho is the one that needs to deflect it, and he does. He has the right outside around the back on the shoulder, deflects Abi to the side, and that will stop the initial attack. They reset here, and that allows Kotoshoho to start off much closer now, which means Abi needs to step back in order to get those long arms extended like he really likes to have. On this step back, though, we can see Kotoshoho in pursuit. Once again, good footing here, keeps the feet underneath him as he pushes forward, hips forward, arms forward, eyes forward, and everything is locked onto Abi right now, whereas Abi is still trying to get into his own rhythm and drive. Abi deflected to the left, deflected to the right. Now still trying to push forward, but it's not enough space for him to really make those gains he likes. His arms are being bent in these awkward positions because Kotoshoho is the one getting inside with those forearms in and pushing forward. So from here, Kotoshoho is able to deflect him to the right and then pull to the left at that very last second, get a grip around the arm, like very quick grip. I don't even know if that is a grip or if he's just punching the back of the arm from Abi, but either way, that's a great throw from Kotoshoho. And man, if that grip did not land, like deflection, and then rock to the right, throw to the left. Kotoshoho with some fantastic defense to really stop Abi in his tracks right there. And you know, that's the kind of experience he's going to need going into the next match, where he's going to be fighting against Maegashira 1 Daieisho.
You'd expect him to get stronger over time.
Let's see, this is Tobizaru. Do I have to go backwards? Nope, there's Daieisho. Daieisho Kotoshoho. Like, Ichi Yamamoto is budget Abi. Then you have Abi. Then you have Daieisho, which is like an upgrade of Abi. Although technically they're on the same level and they both have the same number of Yusho. So what I'm trying to get at here is they all have the same style. And going from one dude to another in back-to-back days, you should have the right game plan for it. And Kotoshoho does. And we're going to see how he gets the win here. Kotoshoho gets the grip underneath the arms, pulls Daieisho in and around, gets the grip on the belt, and now Daieisho can't escape. Good Yotsuzumo victory for Kotoshoho against an Oshizumo man. Now, let's see how we get to that point in the first place. The way it happens is off the Tachi-ai, again, keeps these feet both underneath him, right hand up inside, and he's going to use that to leverage Daieisho. Daieisho wants to get those hands up high over and over and over again, but he actually opts to attack the outside left. This might be because he wants to rock Kotoshoho off balance, or maybe just get him to the side so he can drive forward at an angle, because we see the way his feet are pointing, his knee is pointing out that way. His hips and shoulders are all kind of squared, not with the line, but away from the line, kind of like going that way. So he probably attacked the outside so he can maintain the control by manipulating Kotoshoho in the way that he wanted him to go. Kotoshoho, however, takes the attack head on, and now Daieisho actually slips across the face. You saw him hit the face, but he kept on going this way as a result of his big step continuing to go this way. Now, Daieisho needs to redirect himself. And this is probably, as artifacted as it is, this is probably the freeze frame where Daieisho loses. Because from here, now he has to re-square himself, re-stance up against Kotoshoho, who still has this grip on the back right here. And Kotoshoho is going to use that to pull himself in. Gets the grip around the arm, and now Kotoshoho on the pull, on the attack, gets the arm bar throw, trying to pull Daieisho this way, and when he can't get it, Daieisho throws out that left arm violently to break the grip. Kotoshoho immediately goes in for the bear hug, and he's gonna get a grip on Daieisho whether Daieisho likes it or not. So Daieisho has to swing those hips around to try to re-square up again, and Kotoshoho uses that to lock in the belt grip, which now at this point, Daieisho can't really do anything about unless he breaks the grip by swinging his hips or trying a weird spin move. I don't know what he can do from this point, but Kotoshoho locks in that grip. Daieisho in a spot where now he can't do his usual Oshizumo, and he's under full control of Kotoshoho. Daieisho tries to retreat, like I said, in an effort to break that grip, but that just drives him all the way to the edge, and that is going to get Kotoshoho his 11th victory of the tournament, which means he has to fight Takakeisho in the Musubi no Ichiban for the title. We already know how it goes, and we already know how long this match is going to take, but the fact that Kotoshoho got here in the first place is a testament to his will, a testament to his comeback ability, and if this is the Kotoshoho we're going to see from now on, I want him to clean up his footwork, and I really hope he can continue forward. So, final match, Takakeisho versus Kotoshoho. Kotoshoho gets blasted backwards, attempts the throw, but it was a little too hasty, and he kind of just threw himself at Takakeisho's behest. So once again, full speed, we'll see it again. Kotoshoho does get blasted, loses the Tachi-ai, tries to use the outside right arm to throw Takakeisho, but he kind of lost the grip in the middle of that throw. You can see goes for the outside and blocks with the inside left. That's not a bad idea against someone like Takakeisho who's going to full body charge you. Takakeisho bounces Kotoshoho upwards, and now Kotoshoho, that outside attack failed, that inside block failed. Now he's eye to eye with his opponent right here. Takakeisho follows up with another strong, solid push to the chest, and Kotoshoho tries to contain the arms by going outside again. Not sure if he's trying to grip the belt or what from here, but he does get grabbed by Takakeisho. And once again, Takakeisho, this is not something we usually see him do. He goes high with his chest to chest. He's pushing forward. This is a fantastic Yotsuzumo opportunity for him to just keep pushing forward, keep Kotoshoho off balance by lifting that shoulder up and away, and Kotoshoho is going to try to use that against him by switching the grip of the arm around Takakeisho's own arm as he tries to swing his entire body and then subsequently use all that momentum to go for a throw, because you can see he actually has a really good kick up on the leg in the back. You can see he attempts to kick up the leg, but actually I think he completely misses because there goes his leg. If he were to get that kick up on the leg and get that kakenage, that would have been insane, but he missed the leg kick. And that's something that you never ever want to have happen, because now that's his entire being right there. Those cute little toesies in the middle of the clay as he's staring down at the dirt. And that message in particular that says they're going to eat some tiramisu, which I don't think I've ever had that dessert, but I think Kotoshoho is probably going to need some comfort food after this match, and he's going for that tiramisu. So after that missed kakenage attempt, gets thrown to the ground and loses the tournament. Now, when I did it from Takakeisho's perspective, I don't think I mentioned that leg kick attempt. I don't actually remember, but I mean, I didn't spend too much time on it because it was just Takakeisho blasts forward for the win like he usually does. But now that I'm seeing it again, you can really get a sense of Kotoshoho's urgency. And I guess, you know, it's the first time he's been in a Yusho winning match. You know, there's a lot of pressure right there. It's not the first time he's been in the Musubi no Ichiban. He's been there before, as like I said, he went 2-13 from Maegashira 3. But, you know, that was a long time ago. That was 2 years ago. That's not something you get used to after your first try. You know, he jumped into a cold pool of water and immediately got out. Now he's jumping back into that cold pool of water, and, you know, he needs to stay in this time if he wants to thrive. Kotoshoho, on this throw attempt, actually, I don't even think he was hey, no biting yourself. I don't even think he thought of going for a kakenage. He just throws that leg up to try to use that as momentum to throw down, but he loses the grip in the back over here. So in the end, he just kind of throws himself into the ground. Like, good idea, but he was way too early on that throw attempt. If he had waited a split second for Takakeisho to swing these hips around a little bit more, so then he could hook the leg and go for a kakenage, then maybe. But, you know, your leg doesn't go up like that because of what your opponent does to you. He threw that left leg back in an attempt to use that momentum to throw Takakeisho down, and it completely missed. It failed. It's unfortunate, but, you know, what can you do? And that is how the story of Kotoshoho ends here, as I want to get back to playing Madden 10 for the PlayStation 2. And I need to take the dog out. Hey, Bear, you want to go for a walk? You want to speak for me? You want to speak for the microphone? Speak. Speak. Oh, good boy. All right, I gotta go walk the dog. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Well, the Banzuke is already out at this point. It's only like a week until the next tournament, so I will see you guys there. Be sure to watch here on Leo Dickinson Sumo, either here or on my Twitch channel of the same name. Thank you very much for joining us. I will catch you cats later.